Hello again on this channel. If this is the first time you found me, welcome. Um, I, I guess just to provide some context, as I say in every video, I do these videos for me. And I say that because I want to practice speaking in front of a camera, but also chronicle my personal development journey this year. A little bit of background. I live abroad. I live in Asia. I say abroad. I'm from the UK. I live in Asia. I work in finance, but I've got a background in life coaching, in resume writing, and finance. So I have a foot in a few different areas. These videos are unedited, as you will find out very soon, because I will make the obvious mistakes. But that's the whole idea. This is to be unvarnished, me speaking to me, for me to see this video in 6 months' time and go, oh, that's what I was thinking. Or look how bad I was, or whatever it is. The idea is for me to be able to engage with me and anyone else who wants to join on this journey as a Gen X middle-aged person trying to find his feet on many different levels. So today I have a thought for a change to have a little bit of a focus. Sometimes I ramble because I don't have a script, but I have an idea of what I want to talk about. But I'm kind of going to touch on two areas. So firstly, this concept called S.L.A.M. Now, S.L.A.M is an acronym that I first heard about 15, 20 years ago, maybe, I don't know, from this guy, Brian Tracy, who's a self-development, productivity, whatever type of guru, but a really smart guy, or at least I find him quite smart and interesting. Anyway, so S.L.A.M stands for S is simplify, L is leverage, A is accelerate, and M is multiply. Now, I know Tim Ferriss in his book has some sort of version of this-ish, but Brian Tracy was definitely before Tim Ferriss, so it might have even been 20 years ago anyway. But the idea behind this is really, how do you get ahead from a productivity perspective, or in life in general? So let's start with simplify. So we know that we have too many things on our plate at any one time that we need to reduce to the most simplest form of it. In other words, to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters. So that's simplify. So look at your life. Are you simplifying your processes? Are you finding ways in which you can rather have 20 ingredients for a meal, use the 5 that make the most impact? The 80-20 rule, if you will. So simplify, that's the S. Then there's L, so that's leverage. Now, this is all about other people's time, other people's money, other people's resources. It's a sort of dynamic that, again, is talked about by the likes of Tim Ferriss in terms of outsourcing elements. It's talked about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad in terms of using other people's money. So this is, again, something that isn't revolutionary, but I think it's something that the average man on the street doesn't think about. You could probably outsource a lot more of your life than you're actually doing now. You know, this could be anything from having someone to clean your apartment, and that does cost money, so you've obviously got to keep that in mind. But also, you know, the idea of using certain ChatGPT, that is leverage. That's using technology in its purest form to help answer questions rather than you having to search, or for you to design a plan, a strategy, a business plan, call it what you will. ChatGPT is providing that leverage that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago wasn't available. So that's really what this is about. Use leverage as much as you can to help simplify your life, to help you be more productive. Then there's A, accelerate. Now this is something that I'm finding myself struggling with personally, because I am a procrastinator. I am somebody who often likes to take a lot of time over decisions. Now there's nothing wrong with that most of the time, but when you're taking a lot of time over decisions that really don't matter, whether it's fish or chicken, whether you fly on one day or the other and there's no real difference, then you're really just procrastinating and you're delaying a decision that could be taken earlier. So I am going to make more of an effort, and again, even more so from a personal development perspective, make more of an effort to accelerate my efforts to make, anyway, accelerate the process. So rather than basically overthink things, drag things out, write things down 20 times, just do it, as Nike would say. Sometimes it's just really about getting things done. It's perfect is the enemy of good. Is that the phrase? It's the fact that procrastination and perfectionism is slowing me down. And I've talked in the past about the idea of building up income streams, etc. And online, it all just seems so easy. Everyone's doing it perfectly. No. But a lot of them are executing. They are executing, and then they're iterating if things go wrong. And then it's still not perfect, but that's not the point. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be out there. So I know that I need to push things out, do things, and for my next week's video, I intend to be able to report that I have made more of a impact on my income streams ideas, because I would have used more leverage, I would have simplified processes, I would have accelerated things, and multiply. Now, I don't exactly remember how Brian Tracy described multiplying. It wasn't quite the exact way that I even think about it. For me, it's almost the inverse of leverage. Maybe that's not the right way of putting it. In other words, I have written, an example. I have perhaps written something on Medium. So I write on the writing platform Medium. So rather than that be the only use for that piece of work, I repurpose my own work. And so I could repackage some of my writing into an ebook, or I can elongate what I've written and turn it into a course, etc., etc. So it's using what I've already used, leveraging my own resources, if you will, in a way in which I can be more productive. So S.L.A.M, again, is something that I've learned about a long time ago, and I thought, yeah, great, nodding my head, but I haven't actually applied it in the way that I feel I should be applying it, given that I've talked about it to myself for years and years and years. And so I would suggest to yourself and to myself to, at least over this next week, try to use S.L.A.M in different ways. Try to simplify things. Look at ways in which you can take out a part of the process of getting from A to B, metaphorically speaking, of course. Use leverage, other people's time, other people's money, ChatGPT, etc., etc. Leverage rather than having to do it all yourself. Accelerate, just do it. I know I need to do that. I'm already in March. And I know had I accelerated certain things, I could have been more advanced on certain elements. I could have made a few mistakes and then improved on those mistakes and move forward. So accelerate and just use what you already have. Recycle, repurpose what you already have rather than everything having to be new. So that's S.L.A.M. And I'm definitely going to focus more on S.L.A.M. this week because, again, I know in my heart that it's in my bones that I can find some value in it. I just haven't applied it enough. And the other thing I was going to talk about today were the Oscars. In a kind of way, as in, they're great. I've always liked it. But this is the first time, I'd say the first time, this doesn't happen to anybody. I know somebody that won an Oscar. Now, I won't talk about what he won it in, or it's one of the lesser exciting areas. But it did tell me, it did kind of suggest a few things to me. Firstly, when this guy was at school, he wasn't viewed as, anything spectacular. He'd be the first to admit. He was never academic. He wasn't the cool kid. He wasn't Mr. Popular. He just, was a nice enough guy that got on with people. He did what he needed to do, and he found a space that he was able to express himself. Yeah, and it's not Robert Downey Jr., FYI, but it's someone in an area of film that realised he had a talent. He just put his head down and worked on it. And, myself and other friends have been living vicariously through this guy's success. It's been brilliant. The WhatsApp chat groups just kind of saying, wow, this is incredible. But it does tell me a few things. Firstly, we all have something to offer. And I know it's a kind of hackneyed phrase of, we're all special. I mean, we're not, but we all have something that we can do well. He found a way. He was diligent over the years, and he had his moment. Maybe we won't all have those special moments. Very few people, in fact, nobody that watches this video will get an Oscar. I doubt that. But we will all have those opportunities to achieve something beyond where we are now. So just, find your groove, find that thing that really does elevate you to, a higher level than the average Joe or Joanna, and apply yourself. That's it. Discipline. It's all about discipline. Motivation is great, but it can come and go. We just have to apply ourselves. Think of S.L.A.M as being a part of the discipline toolbox, and just keep on applying yourself in a way that allows for you to achieve your own version of the Oscars. Okay, well, I think that's it for now. If you want to kind of continue this journey of self-development that I'm going to have in 2024, feel free, please subscribe. Who knows how I'm going to evolve over this year. I'm going to apply some basic principles of simplifying and we'll see where this takes me. But I would also recommend you try some of this. You try your own YouTube, deliver it out in the ether. At least you have a record of your voice, of your message, and you can come back to it. There's one thing talking about doing stuff. There's one thing even writing it down, but actually hearing your own voice and seeing your own energy is another thing. I guarantee it's different to just writing it down. So give it a go. Try your own YouTube. You might not get dozens or any viewers, but that's almost by the by. It's about you being able to challenge yourself in a way that you've never challenged yourself before. Okay, that's it really for today, and yeah, take it easy.